There's a certain silence that surrounds the hardest worker in the room. It's not the silence of weakness, it's the silence of focus. While the world screams for attention, validation, shortcuts, and comfort, the hardest worker moves in discipline. They don't brag, they don't broadcast, they don't beg for applause. They're too busy doing the work, too committed to the mission, too in love with the grind to need the noise. Because for them, success isn't something you post about. It's something you bleed for. Enough waiting. It's time to move. If you're tired of the talk and ready for action, smash that subscribe button now. This isn't just motivation. It's your weekly wake-up call to show up, stay focused, and dominate your goals. Like, comment, share, and bring someone else with you on this journey. Let's grind. Let's rise. Let's win. Together. Being the hardest worker in the room isn't about having the most talent. It's about having the most heart. It's not about being seen. It's about being relentless when no one's watching. It's showing up on the days when motivation dies and momentum feels like a memory. It's doing the reps, taking the hits, pushing through the failure, not once, but again and again, until average becomes excellence and effort becomes identity. It's about understanding that your dreams don't care how you feel. They only respond to what you do. The hardest worker doesn't wait for perfect timing. They make the time. They carve it out of chaos. They rise early. They stay late. They sacrifice sleep, comfort, and convenience, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. They know that greatness doesn't arrive. It's built, brick by brick, in the dark, in the dirt, when everyone else is sleeping. When most quit, they continue. When others panic, they persist. Because somewhere deep inside, they made a promise to themselves, to their family, to their vision, that no excuse would ever be stronger than their work ethic. This isn't about ego. It's about integrity. It's about keeping your word when no one would blame you for breaking it. It's about showing up for the version of you that still believes in the dream, even when life tries to break you. Especially then. The hardest worker in the room doesn't just chase goals, they chase growth. They don't just want results, they want resilience. They want to know they gave it everything, that when it's all said and done, no regret remains on the table, no stone unturned, no fight left unfought. Because here's the truth, life is hard, success is hard, building something meaningful, whether it's a body, a business, a legacy, is hard. But you know what's harder? Regret. Looking back on a life half-lived, knowing you had more to give, but you gave in instead. The hardest worker in the room understands that. That's why they suffer now, to celebrate later. That's why they endure the pressure, because diamonds aren't made in comfort. They're made in fire. And no, they don't always win. They fail. They fall. They doubt. They break. But they never stay broken. They rise with calloused hands and a wiser heart. They rise because they've trained themselves to. They rise because they've conditioned their mind to keep moving forward when everything else says stop. That's the difference. That's the edge. It's not magic. It's not genetics. It's not luck. It's mindset. It's discipline. It's the ability to suffer on purpose. The hardest worker in the room learns to love what others run from. They don't fear the grind. They crave it because they've made peace with the pain. They know that every drop of sweat, every sacrifice, every setback is shaping them into someone stronger. They don't just do the work, they become the work. The early mornings, the late nights, the lonely hours, those are the chapters of their story. The sweat is their signature. The effort is their truth. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need permission to become that person. You don't need applause to be relentless. You don't need the perfect setup, the right connections, the best genetics. All you need is a decision, a vow, a daily commitment to outwork who you were yesterday. That's how you become the hardest worker in the room. Not by comparing yourself to others, but by conquering yourself, by beating your laziness, by silencing your excuses, by stepping into every day with purpose and leaving it with pride. Because this world doesn't reward potential, it rewards execution. It doesn't pay you for dreaming, it pays you for doing, for showing up when it's hard, for performing when it hurts, for refusing to back down when life backs you into a corner. The hardest worker in the room doesn't fold, they fight. Not with arrogance, but with intensity. Not for clout, but for purpose. They don't want to be noticed. They want to be undeniable. So stop waiting. Stop wishing. Stop looking for a secret formula or a shortcut. It doesn't exist. What exists is grind. What exists is grit. What exists is the unglamorous, unfiltered, unrewarded hours that no one sees, but that build everything. That's where greatness lives. That's where legacy is born. Not in comfort, but in commitment. Not in motivation, but in mastery. Not in hype, but in hunger. You want to change your life. Outwork everyone. You want to rise above. Show up when they rest. Push when they pause. Sacrifice when they settle. While they party, you plan. While they scroll, you study. While they sleep, you build. And while they dream, you work to make yours real. Because the gap between winning and wishing is work. And the hardest worker in the room knows that better than anyone. And here's the part no one tells you. Being the hardest worker in the room is lonely. You will be misunderstood, mocked, questioned. People will call you obsessed, intense, unbalanced. Let them, because obsession is what it takes. Balance is what they preach when they fear your intensity. And being misunderstood is the price of doing what others aren't willing to do. The hardest worker doesn't need validation. They create it. Through results, through resilience, through relentless execution. So if you're tired, keep going. If you're scared, keep going. If you're doubting yourself, keep going. Let your discipline drive you when your feelings fail you. Let your vision speak louder than your fear. Let your effort scream louder than your insecurities. This is your life, your chance, your time. And the only way to take control of it is to be the hardest worker in every room you walk into. Show the world what consistency looks like. Show them what dedication creates. Show them how hunger moves. Let your actions echo louder than their opinions. Let your results silence their doubts. Let your journey inspire someone else to start their own. Because when you commit to being the hardest worker in the room, you don't just change your life. You give others permission to change theirs. You become a lighthouse in a storm, a fire in the cold, proof that the grind works, that the pain pays off, that the sacrifice means something. So wake up with purpose, move with urgency, train like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Your freedom, your future, your fulfillment all hang in the balance. The grind isn't punishment, it's preparation. The struggle isn't rejection, it's redirection. Everything is building you, sharpening you, forging you. Every rep you push through is a brick in the foundation of your destiny. Every early morning, every late night, it all compounds into greatness. The pain is temporary, but the pride lasts forever. You're not just working out, you're working on the future version of you. And when it's all said and done, when the dust settles and the trophies fade, there will be one thing no one can ever take away from you: your work ethic, your effort, your heart. That's your legacy. That's your power. Not the medals, not the praise, but the moments when you refuse to quit, not the finish line, but every lonely step that brought you closer. Not who cheered, but who endured, who stayed, who fought. You will be remembered not for what you had, but for how hard you fought to earn it.